everybody, welcome back to a new video, which is something that I have been looking forward to talking about for so long, but I decided to wait until the trial was over so that I had all of the information, you guys have all of the information, we know what was said, what wasn't said, we know more about what the truth is, and all that sort of stuff. So I decided to wait, but this video idea came up a few weeks ago after I was listening to a true crime podcast called True Crime Daily, which you can find on Spotify. It's really good. Just a little note, they don't upload daily, which is a little bit disappointing. Anyway, it's called True Crime Daily, and they do one episode every week that is about criminal cases, and they'll have a guest speaker on who might be a lawyer or a prosecutor or a judge, somebody who works in the legal system, people like that. So they do the podcast and then they talk about oftentimes trials that are in the media, so people know about them and they're interested in it and they're talking about it. And one of the guests for talking about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial was someone who brought up this idea that if Amber Heard loses the lawsuit, that she would, in a sense, that her losing would be a setback for women and I guess women's rights. So that idea was quite unexpected, I felt, because I hadn't really had that feeling that anybody else really felt that way. But it was a really good point because obviously if he brought it up, then other people are also thinking about it. And now that the trial's over and we do know that Johnny Depp won the lawsuit, then we can actually talk about this hypothetical situation, which is now reality. So the first thing I wanted to say is that I absolutely disagree with the idea that it's a setback for women and women's rights, because this is a very specific situation. It's not about everyday women who might be in a domestic violence situation. This is about someone who specifically claimed to have been a victim of domestic violence, and after the relationship, they then wrote an article about their experiences, and they talked a lot about it in the media, and they continued to be able to work and maintain a public image, whereas the other person who was in the same line of work was not able to continue to live and work as they had done before, and were really affected by the things that she had said and done, and their life was significantly altered by her actions during the relationship, but more so, I guess, after the relationship. And that's very different from what a lot of women experience in domestic violence situations. Usually the biggest issue is, first of all, be convincing yourself to get out of the relationship, to leave and to not go back, to cut communication off, go into hiding, seek help, and sometimes going to the police, although a lot of domestic violence survivors don't go to the police. They find it very difficult to put themselves forward in that way and to go through a trial and all that sort of stuff. So domestic violence survivors, their situation doesn't look anything like the Amber Heard thing. You know, they don't leave the relationship and say, you know, I'm going to go out and say all of these things and you're going to pay for what you did. Most don't even have that opportunity because the type of domestic violence that they experience can result in them being stalked, physically hurt, killed. So their situation is really about leaving and then hiding and staying in a safe place. So in that aspect, I don't think that Amber Heard has set back women at all, because the type of process that most domestic violence women are going to go through doesn't look anything like Amber Heard's situation. So I just don't agree with that at all. And to go with that, I think that there's a huge upside with her losing this lawsuit in regards to men's rights and the acknowledgement and sharing of information about the type of domestic violence that men experience. Obviously, Johnny Depp experienced physical violence from Amber Heard, but what a lot of men experience in domestic violence is more mental manipulation and cutting them off from their friends and family. And what Johnny Depp winning this lawsuit means, I think, is showing that men can be victims, and that also Amber Heard continued to abuse him in a way after the relationship by ensuring that he was cut off from the social aspect of his life, the work aspect. You know, he didn't have work, so he wasn't meeting, you know, the people that he would often meet, you know, other actors. He wasn't able to do the things that he could do before, so he was really being isolated. Even though their relationship was over, he was still being domestically abused, in my opinion. So him winning this lawsuit, I think, can really show and also say that, you know, we agree that this was not acceptable. You can't do this. You can't cut people off from their social circles, their work circles. That people need that. And if they're not able to do that, it's not just about making money. Yes, you know, him missing out on work and missing out on pay is, you know, that's a really bad thing. But what's even worse, I think, is being completely isolated from the industry that he had been in for so many years. Like, that's his place. Like, that's part of his identity. That's his existence. And she took that away from him even after the relationship was over, even after he had made it out. And that is such an obvious sign of domestic abuse that it was really disheartening, I think, for a lot of people to see that happen to him and not being able to do anything about it. Like, people talked about it online, but it wasn't until now, when he's won this lawsuit, or, you know, during the process of winning it, that people were really able to talk about it and able to, you know, protest the treatment that he experienced and the continuation of the abuse after the relationship. So I'm very happy that he took the time to go through this extremely difficult process, putting himself out there, you know, putting himself on the line like that, to have, you know, be cross-examined and to have his, you know, his life torn apart. Like, he chose that to not only help himself, but also to help all these other people who might experience similar things. Maybe not to that extent, but, you know, what she did shows just how bad it can be, you know, for guys. I mean, he had his finger cut off, lost his work, lost, you know, friends, lost his identity, I would even argue. And then we can also talk about the borderline personality disorder aspect of it, which I think is very interesting, but I won't talk about it in this video because it's very, I would say, controversial. Although the one thing that I will say is that if you have a friend and he tells you, yeah, so my girlfriend doesn't want us to hang out anymore, and they have borderline personality disorder, you're not going to say, oh, well, I guess we won't see each other again. You know, you'd probably say, oh, she really needs to get her borderline personality disorder sorted out, and maybe you shouldn't be together with her until she gets it sorted out. You know, you wouldn't really separate the two, because you know that they're connected, right? Okay, so anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys found it interesting, and continue the conversation. Let's talk about it. Were we surprised, disappointed, happy? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys all next time. Hey do.